Stop using Venmo, stop using Zelle, stop getting clients to write you checks, bank transfers. If they are late, the only power you have in your corner is to just continue to pester them with emails and texts. This is the late payment policy that we have in our contract. Late payment policy. So you finish the work, you've created the invoice, you've sent off the invoice, and nothing. You don't hear back from the client. They're not paying your invoice. Invoice is now 3 days late. Maybe it's 10 days late, 14 days late. This is the part of owning a business as a photographer, a filmmaker, a content creator, social media manager. If you are a service-based creative running your own business, the part no one wants to tell you about. Hey, get into running your own business. Someone one day is going to not pay you on time. It's going to stress you out. No one wants to talk about that, right? But today, we're going to talk about that. Welcome to today's video, guys. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Joey, and I'm going to be breaking down a couple different ways that Christy and I have gotten a lot better at collecting payments in our business to avoid late payments. Also, making sure that our contracts are bulletproof and people know what's happening if they do not pay us. And I think you're going to be a little bit surprised on what I say because it's a little bit countercultural to what I've seen a lot of people talk about and just quite frankly what I know a lot of people do in the photo, video, social industry. So I'm really glad you're here. By the end of this episode, hopefully it's going to be like 10, 12, 15 minutes. You are going to walk away with a much better plan on how to make sure you get paid on a way higher percentage of the amount of jobs that you're actually getting on. And most importantly, you're going to be getting paid on time. If you stay to the end, I'm actually going to read you through my contract, specifically like the payment clause in my contract and the late payment clause in the contract. And then I'll actually give you a prompt if you just DM us. I'll actually just send you over a doc where you can copy and paste it and install it into your own contract. So glad you're here. But real quick, if you resonate with this topic, I'm sure you're going to resonate with a bunch of the other stuff we do. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Joey. Christy and me, my wife and I, started Creative Rise back in 2019 with a singular focus to help photographers just like us, filmmakers just like us, social media managers, content creators, learn the business side of running a creative business so they can be a self-employed creative. I got my self-employed creator shirt on today. And most importantly, so you can actually get paid to do what you love. So this is not a topic that gets talked about a bunch, but it is absolutely a topic in that sphere of getting paid to do what you love and building a successful career as a self-employed individual that needs to get talked about. So we're here to talk about that today. I want to start off though with a quick story. So I'm taking you to 19-year-old Joey, okay? I'm in New Zealand, living in New Zealand for about 2 months. I was bouncing between New Zealand, Australia, and Indonesia, hanging with friends, surfing, living out of vans, doing the whole thing, and working with a lot of brands. I had a bunch of retainer clients that I had brought down with me, products I brought down with me. And one day I was on Instagram, and there was this agency actually based on the West Coast of the United States. I was from Canada. I'm originally from Canada. I live here in California now. But at the time, from Canada, hanging out in New Zealand for a couple months, and I see this post 5 seconds ago is posted on somebody's story from an agency that I'd followed that did really great work from the northwest corner of the US. And they said, is anybody in New Zealand that is a filmmaker for a last minute project? So immediately, obviously, my hand goes up. I'm like, absolutely, me. I sent them my portfolio. I'm like, I'm available the next couple of days. What can we work on together? And they sent me back, here's the idea. Here's what we're doing. And lo and behold, it was actually a commercial for Uber to help launch Uber and launch rideshare into New Zealand. Very, very cool project. And they said, here's the budget. It was like $2,800, quite low. But I was like, this is awesome. This is a dream. $2,800, like I typically probably charge like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 back then. This is years and years and years ago. I was 19. But at the time I was like, if I can just put Uber on my website, say I've worked with these guys, I mean, that's a huge win for me, right? As I was growing my company. So I took the job and then I hired a couple of my friends to be models, paid for their gas, paid for their food for the day. And so I was in about $3,200 in terms of what I was expecting to get paid, $2,800, plus the like $400 that I was also shelving out of my own cash right up front for my friends to be models and for them to actually get dialed in, get gas, get food, make the whole day happen. So shoot day goes awesome. There's a set of 3 people from the US that flew down on behalf of Uber. We shot everything. They had hired a couple other models, hired a couple cars. I mean, it was incredible. Awesome experience. I edit the project, send the project. So stoked. Absolutely stoked. And I never hear back. A week goes by, turns into 2 weeks, send them another follow-up, turns into a month. And I'm just simply here waiting for them to pay me in whatever form they want to pay me in, right? Is it a check? Is it going to be an e-transfer? Living in Canada, you know what e-transfer is. Is it going to be some type of a bank transfer? What is it going to be? And the payment never came. And so I kept peppering them, and eventually I found out that their whole company blew up and people stole money. It ended up being a whole different deal. But my experience working with Uber with this agency just crumbled, and it ended up not going well, right? I shot the project. The project went really well, but I did not get paid. I was out at $3,200 as a 19-year-old. And that was the probably starting point of me really starting to consider. I'd been in business for about 4.5, 5 years by that point, but really starting to consider, like, what does it look like to get better systems around the idea of collecting payments? How do I get paid on time? And how do I make sure that they're actually paying? How can I make this way less stress-free? Because the truth is, not getting paid on time is incredibly stressful. Adds a ton of stress to your business. Now, this isn't just me. We run a community around here. If you're new, Creative Rise has been around for about 7.5 years, and we run a community called the Creative Rise Mastermind. We've had 450 plus creatives from all over the world go through that. We've helped them build six-figure businesses, and was a great dude from Texas. His name's Will. He put something in the chat the other day in our mastermind chat, just saying, hey, I've got a couple questions about, collecting payments. I got somebody who's late on a payment. What should I do? And he was talking through how he was going to navigate it. And this started kind of the whole idea for this podcast episode. And so what I'm about to do over the next couple of minutes is I'm going to talk to you about what most creatives do. And I'm going to share with you what Christy and I do, why you should consider it. And then at the end, again, I told you I was going to give you our contract clause. So stay tuned for that. But shout out to Will for giving us the idea. But here is what most creatives do and why I would say it is wrong. So most creatives, if you were in the US, a lot of creatives receive payment via Venmo, via Zelle, something where there is 0 or as close to 0% fees as possible. And well, I think that's really wise, right? If you're going to do $100,000 in a year and you use a payment processor that takes 3% every single time you run, a client's card, you're losing $3,000 out of your $100,000 worth of revenue in a given year. 3%, that's a lot, right? So most people opt for Venmo, they opt for Zelle, they opt for bank transfers, and we do a lot of that as well. We have done a lot of that as well. But every time I've ever been screwed over on a project where either a client paid incredibly late, which was incredibly frustrating for us, or they never paid at all, it's always been set up on one of those payment bases of, hey, send us via Venmo, send us via, Zelle or bank transfer, send us a check in the mail. Or if you're in Canada, I grew up in Canada, it used to be send me an e-transfer, right? And why I do not recommend this is because if they are late, the only power you have in your corner is to just continue to pester them with emails and texts. You have no ability to run one of their cards and actually charge a payment. So here is what we do differently. This is what Christy and I do to make sure we can collect payments on time and in full. We use a payment processor and we don't care about the fact that they charge 3%. I'm going to show you why right here, okay? So we use payment processors like Stripe and QuickBooks. And this is why I'm going to encourage you to really consider it. Yes, they charge 3%. Yes, for international cards or international clients, they might even charge more than 3%. But here's why this is really, really smart. Here's what Christy and I do instead. When someone says, hey, we'd like to hire you for this project, whether it's Christy for a wedding, for a couple shoot, it's a brand shoot. For us, yeah, we're shooting some type of brand campaign. Maybe it's a big brand build, a rebrand that we're doing. Anytime someone says they want to work with us, the first thing Christy and I are now focused on doing is getting them to give us either half of the project fee up front, which would be, let's say it's a $10,000 project, getting 50% down, so $5,000 right up front to reserve that spot on our calendar and to start us to actually, get into the pre-production, or we will actually take a date deposit. So 2 different ways to do this. Number 1, you can just say, hey, before we start any projects, here's the contract and here's the deposit invoice for 50%. Highly recommend that. Or here's another way we encourage people to do it, and we do it sometimes as well. On sales calls with people, we'll actually say, hey, great. Sounds like you're in with working with us. We really want to make this project happen. So if you can pull out your card, we want to take a $250 refundable deposit for this project just to take the date off of our calendars. If you're in the wedding space, this is huge. If someone's like, oh, I'm still got to talk to a couple other people, or I got to talk to my spouse, awesome. It's totally refundable, but give me a $250 down payment so I can take that date off of my calendar and ensure that it's actually going to be yours, okay? So it's brilliant because it helps them actually secure the date, but here's what's really going on, and here's why we do it. What just happened is you've now been able to take that payment, whether it was $5,000, it was 50% down, or whether it was just a $250 deposit. You've been able to take that card that they just paid you with, run it through the payment processor for the amount of money you're charging them, and now you can store that card. So then here's what happens in the contract. Inside of the contract, you say you have an auto charge clause, which I'm going to read you later on. in this episode. You have an auto charge clause that says the next time your payment is due, we will just auto charge your card. You see where I'm going with this? You don't have to send an invoice and expect and wait for them to actually hit you up and pay you. You can just send them a receipt after the auto charge has gone through, right? Lay out the terms in the contract, make sure auto charge is laid out very clearly in the contract. And then what happens is you get to this run the client's card, which is amazing because there's no pestering back and forth. Oh, they're on vacation for 2 weeks. Oh, they're tight on cash flow. Oh, they're this, they're that. They just don't want to pay you for some reason, right? You can just run their card, which is incredible. So here's how that works in today's day and age. Okay, I'm going to read you through an example contract that we had from a couple months ago. Okay. And if you want this example contract, if you want to be able to see this right here, happy to give it to you. Totally my gift to you for being here on this episode. Just jump on over to our socials, jump on over to Instagram, and just send us the message contract clause, 2 words, contract clause, and it will just I'll set up a little auto DM and it will just send it over to you. It's just a Notion page. You can copy this and put it into your own contracts. But here is now what I say in my contracts to make sure that I get paid on time every time by being way smarter about how I take money from my clients as a photographer, filmmaker, content creator. Compensation. The client will pay the company. So I'm the company, talking about the client. Earlier in the contract, we already stated these names, so you don't have to repeat the client's name every time. But compensation. The client will pay the company on the payment schedule for the company's services outlined above in this agreement. The client agrees to pay the company X amount of dollars. This one right here says $41,997 in total compensation for the outlined services above. Additional agreed upon freelancer fees may be billed through the client directly. Additional agreed upon freelancer fees that are not billed through the client will be billed through the company and reflected on the company's invoices. That's just saying that if other stuff comes up that we all need to pay for, we're going to get it cleared by you, and then we're going to bill it to you outside of our normal payment schedule. Here's the clause right here. Payment authorization agreement and payment schedule. By signing this agreement, the client, my client, authorizes Spears Collective LLC, my company, to automatically charge the card on file according to the payment schedule below. Then I have due at signing. For this contract specifically, it said $20,998.50. Due 30 days later, $10,499.25. Due 30 days later, $10,499.25. The client agrees that these payments will be processed automatically on the due dates using the payment method provided. If the payment method fails, the client is responsible for providing an updated payment method to avoid service interruptions and late payment fees. This authorization remains in effect until all payments have been successfully processed. The client may not cancel or revoke this authorization until the balance is paid in full. So that's my auto charge fee, saying you give us a payment method, we then auto charge you for all of your payments to work with us. So if this is a wedding, you've got a $250 date holding deposit that you take on sales calls, fully refundable. So if they decided to go in another direction and not hire you for the wedding, that's fine. Just click the refund button, that's fine. But if they do pick you, awesome. When it goes to time to sign the contract, they sign the contract and you just automatically go into Stripe, you go into QuickBooks, whatever you use, and you run their card. You automatically charge it. And then what you do is you set up for, 4 months from now on this date or 6 months from now or on the wedding date, boom, I hit that card again. I'm automatically going to run it. I now can sit back. I don't have to worry about chasing payments because I have a system that's automatically collecting them. I don't have to wait for somebody to come and manually pay me, manually write me a check, manually go to the bank, get cash, and mail it to me, whatever that looks like, right? Whatever system you're operating on right now, send me a Venmo, send me a Zelle, right? This is a way, way better way to do it. So, late payment policy. This is the next part right here. If the client is late for any reason, if the auto charge doesn't work, this is the late payment policy that we have in our contract. Late payment policy. A 2% late fee will be applied to an outstanding balance if payment is not received within 5 days of the due date. So, if you don't pay us within 5 days, for some reason your card fails, that's fine. You got 5 days. If the balance remains unpaid after 5 days, an additional 2% late fee will be added to every 14 days until the payment is made in full. So for the next 14 days, 2% just got added to the invoice. If it now goes past 14 days, another 2% gets added on top of that. And you can see how it keeps compounding and compounding and compounding. If a payment is overdue by 10 days, the company reserves the right to pause services until the balance is settled. If the client is responsible for any collection costs, including legal fees, and further action is required to recover unpaid amounts. This authorization remains in effect till all payments have been successfully processed. The client may not cancel or revoke this authorization until the total balance is paid in full. Again, comment, or just go on Instagram, send us a message, contract clause. I'll send you this entire Notion doc right here, and you can copy that into your own contract, which is really great. But just to wrap this up, guys, I told you I was going to keep this one short. The better way to charge: stop using Venmo, stop using Zelle, stop getting clients to write you checks, bank transfers, unless you really, really trust them. But if you think there's any chance that this client might not pay you on time, or might not pay you at all, or it's the first time you've ever worked with this client, take a deposit through a payment processor so that you can auto charge their card. Okay? You have to ask yourself the question. This is what people say to me all the time. But Joey, I don't want to have to give up 3% of my business. Stripe or QuickBooks, they all charge 3% every time I charge a client. I want to get a bank transfer, or I want to get a Zelle, or I want to get an e-transfer, I want to get a Venmo, and I want to be able to get all that money in full. And I'm like, absolutely, you should want that. I want that too. But when the client doesn't pay you, how much is it costing you in literal money, because you're spending so much of your money and time going through things, trying to figure out how to get the client to email you back and pay you? How much is it costing you in money, time, focus? How much focus is it costing you chasing late payments? I'll tell you this right now. It's a lot more than 3%, okay? 3% of your annual revenue. Use a payment processor. It will make your life so much easier, and you will be so much better off. And it actually, here's the really cool part, guys. It will actually make your client relationship even better. You can just tell the client, hey, yeah, no worries. We're going to get you set up on this auto schedule. As long as you agree to this in the contract, you can just sit back and relax. We'll run your card. You don't have to stress out about putting the dates in your calendar. You've got to pay us and then manually doing it. You'll never have to run to the bank and actually pull out cash or get a cashier's check and send it to us. None of that. We'll auto charge it for you. It's better for you, and it's better for your client. That is how you get paid more often, and that is how you get paid on time, okay? So what do you do now if a client is not paying you? Like my good friend Will, who's part of our mastermind, said, hey, I got a client who's not paying me. It's a retainer client of his, and he does not have this set up. He has since gone and set this up, but he did not have this set up. Well, I would just stay on them every 2 to 3 days, send them another email saying, hey, just want to let you know, in X amount of days, this 2% late fee will be added. X amount of days after that, so I'd encourage you to pay it. Here's the link right here to pay it. If people are late, guys, don't still go around asking them for a bank transfer. Send them a super easy payment link. They can click on once, they can click on autofill for all their stuff, and they can click on pay. Make it easy. The easier you make it, the more money you're actually able to collect, which is so, so important. So these are the things not a lot of us like to talk about, but these are the things that keep you in business and make your life in business a lot less stressful. So if this was helpful for you, I'm so glad you're here today. Again, comment, contract clause, send that to us on Instagram, just via DM, and I'll make sure that we get you over that Notion page with our contract clause and our late payment policy clause, and you can install that into your own contracts. Read through it, make sure it fits with you. You do a little bit of research to make sure it's as solid as you want it to look, but that's what we use, and it's been great for us. So anyways, guys, so glad you're here. If you want to also jump on into the next enrollment that we're doing for the Creative Rise Mastermind, just like our friend Will is that I mentioned earlier on in this pod, we are going to be accepting new people into the Creative Rise Mastermind, which is the best place for you to learn how to build a 6-figure business inside of a single 12-month timeline. We've been doing it for 7 years now. There's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens. Over 125 people have gone on to build 6-figure businesses, which is incredible. We've had over 80 people quit their jobs, learn to go full-time, which has been epic. If you want that to be you, we want to help make sure that we get not only the payment authorizer stuff that we talked about today, but every other system you need to set up into your business so you can thrive going through the rest of 2026 into 2027. That is opening up at the end of August, which is going to come way quicker than you think. So make sure you head on over to creativerise.com, jump on the wait list, or run back over to our Instagram. Comment contract clause, we'll get you that, and comment, send us a DM, just say, hey, CRM. The word CRM, that will make me know that you saw this, and I'll make sure I get you all the information about the next enrollment for the Creative Rise Mastermind. So we'll see you there, guys. Hopefully this has been super helpful for you. We'll catch you next week.